You are now listening to the Vegan Stuff podcast with Caavakushi.
Hosting this podcast today are our two AI hosts, Sam and Kim. If you simply can't get enough of us, go to Caavakushi.com and sign up for our vegan newsletter and get our free 7-day high-protein vegan meal plan. And we also have some good news. We will be releasing our first ever cookbook pretty soon, so stay tuned. Hey, don't forget to follow us on our socials too.
Hey there, welcome back to Vegan Stuff with Caavakushi podcast. I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm Kim. Hey, everyone. Ready to dig into something that's probably caused a few lively debates around the vegan dinner table.
Oh, definitely. More debates than is nutritional yeast really cheesy?
Exactly.
So today we're doing a deep dive on Cowspiracy, the sustainability secret.
Yes. Cowspiracy, that film. Part expose, part, eco-thriller.
Yeah, and it's crammed with stats that make you kind of pause mid-tofu scramble.
For sure. For anyone who maybe missed it, perhaps you were meditating in a cruelty-free yurt somewhere. Cowspiracy, directed by Kip Anderson and Keegan Kuhn, essentially asks, is our whole animal agriculture thing secretly tanking the planet?
And importantly, if it is, why aren't the big green organizations shouting about it?
Right. That's the secret part, I guess.
It started pretty small, didn't it? Like grassroots funding.
Yeah, they crowdfunded it. Raised over, $117,000? Which is pretty impressive. Shows people were definitely interested.
That's a serious plant-powered push.
Yeah.
And that money helped get it translated, get it out there.
People were hungry for it, clearly. Like a vegan finding out the fries are cooked separately.
Oh, the best feeling.
Then things got, even bigger. Like adding extra avocado. Leonardo DiCaprio came on board.
Right. As an executive producer for the Netflix release in 2015, that's a huge boost.
Totally. Suddenly, it wasn't just vegans talking about it. It kind of blew up.
It gave it that global megaphone, and it sort of paved the way for their next film, What the Health.
Yeah, that team definitely knows how to make you think.
Yeah.
And maybe scrum a little.
In a good way. Mostly.
And speaking of impact, get this, a 2024 survey by Veggly.
The vegan dating app. Seriously.
Yep. Proving sustainable romance is real. They found Cowspiracy was seen as the most effective documentary for inspiring new vegans.
Wow. What percentage?
Over 1 in 5 respondents picked it. More than 20%.
That's huge. So love and documentaries are changing the world?
Seems like it. And documentaries overall ranked highest for encouraging veganism. Over half the people surveyed said so.
So forget awkward family dinner debates. Just show them a doc.
Might be more effective. So, okay, the film's core question that got everyone buzzing.
It was basically, what's the most destructive industry on Earth and why the silence from some major environmental players?
And Cowspiracy's big answer, underlined and in bold.
Animal agriculture.
Right. And they didn't just, throw that out there. They went into the data, starting with climate change. Greenhouse gases.
Yeah, they pointed out this discrepancy. The UN's FAO said back in 2006 that animal ag was responsible for 18% of emissions.
Which, let's be clear, was already more than all transportation, planes, trains, cars, everything. That was about 13%.
Exactly. So 18% was already huge. But then...
Bam! The film brings in this 2009 World Watch Institute report.
Claiming it was actually 51% or more.
Whoa. Okay, that's a massive difference, like comparing a drizzle to a downpour.
Right. No, okay, that 51% number has definitely been debated. We should say that.
Oh, for sure. Lots of discussion around that specific figure. But the film's point about the types of gases was crucial, too.
You mean methane, cow burps, and other emissions?
Exactly, methane. They highlighted it's way, way more potent at trapping heat than CO2, like 25 to 100 times worse, or 86 times over a 20-year period, which is maybe more relevant.
So CO2 is bad, but methane is its supervillain cousin.
Pretty much. A short-term super warmer. And then there's nitrous oxide.
Right, the laughing gas that isn't funny for the climate.
Not at all. Cowspiracy said livestock are responsible for about 65% of the human-caused stuff.
And that's even worse than methane, long-term.
Potency-wise, yeah. Nearly 300 times the warming potential of CO2, and it hangs around for 150 years.
Oof. Okay. That's sticking around.
Yeah, and the film has showed projections, right? Agricultural emissions possibly going up 80% by 2050.
Well, energy emissions were projected to rise only 20% by 2040. That's a worrying trend.
Totally. They threw in that stat about cows producing apparently 150 billion gallons of methane every single day. You could inflate a lot of party balloons with that. A lot.
Or a small country. And the really stark claim was that even if we totally ditched fossil fuels, like magic,
just raising animals could still push us over our climate budget by 2030?
Yeah. That's a sobering thought, isn't it?
It really is. Okay, so that's the air. What about water?
Oh, the water section. That was another eye-opener. They compared fracking.
Which everyone agrees uses a ton of water.
Right. Maybe 70 to 140 billion gallons a year. Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But then animal agriculture, they claimed 34 to 76 trillion gallons.
Trillion. With a T.
With the T. It makes fracking look like a leaky tap.
That comparison is.
Wow. Okay. And in the U.S., agriculture uses 90% of the water. And growing feed for the livestock. That's 56% of the total U.S. water consumption.
Over half the water in the U.S. is just for animal feed?
According to the film, yeah. It puts your 5-minute shower into perspective.
Seriously. What about, like, specific foods? Beef always gets singled out.
Yep. The film quotes around 2,500 gallons of water for 1 pound of beef. 2,500 gallons. That's like showering for months.
Pretty much. Eggs were still high, like 477 gallons per pound. Cheese, almost 900. A gallon of milk, 1,000 gallons of water.
1,000 gallons for a gallon of milk? That seems inefficient.
You could say that. Makes almond milk look pretty good.
Yeah,
otherwise.
Definitely. They broke down U.S. usage too, right? Homes versus A.
Yeah, only 5% for private homes versus 55% for animal agriculture. Globally, it's still huge, maybe 20 to 33% of all fresh water.
So cutting down on animal products is basically a major water conservation strategy.
That's the argument, yeah.
Oh.
Then there's land, the actual physical space.
Right. Where do all these animals live?
Well, livestock and their feed crops take up about a third of the Earth's ice-free land, or maybe 45% of the total land area.
Nearly half the planet's usable land for animals and their food.
That's what the film presents.
Yeah.
And it argues this massive footprint drives species extinction, ocean dead zones, water pollution, habitat destruction, the whole grim list.
It's not just space, it's the impact on that space.
Exactly.
But first, a quick word from our sponsor, Caavakushi.
Did you know we have a vegan search engine, a vegan forum, a vegan newsletter, and so much more coming soon? So why not check us out at Caavakushi.com.
They mentioned over 500 nitrogen-flooded dead zones in the oceans, linked to livestock runoff.
Dead zones.
And they made the pretty stark claim that we're in the biggest mass extinction event in 65 million years, and animal ag is a leading cause.
That's heavy. Not exactly uplifting viewing.
Yeah. They mentioned needing 2 to 5 acres per cow, and that almost half the contiguous U.S. is used for animal agriculture.
Half the U.S. just for this industry.
And it's linked to desertification, too. A third of the planet turning to desert, with livestock as a major driver.
Okay, wait. And the rainforests. That's always a big one.
Oh, yeah. Cowspiracy claimed animal agriculture is responsible for up to 91% of Amazon destruction.
91%.
That's the number they used. Clearing land, like 1 to 2 acres every second, mostly for grazing or growing feed like soy.
1 to 2 acres a second? That's terrifyingly fast. Faster than you can say past the soy burger.
Right. And it puts the whole palm oil thing in perspective.
Yeah.
Palm oil is bad, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe 26 million acres cleared.
But animal ag.
136 million acres, according to the film's figures for rainforest loss.
Wow. Okay. That's a much bigger number.
Yeah. And then there's the waste, the less glamorous side.
Oh, boy. How bad is it?
Brace yourself. The film stated 7 million pounds of animal excrement are produced every single minute in the U.S. alone.
7 million pounds a minute. That can't be right. That's inconceivable.
It's a staggering number. They compared 2,500 dairy cows producing as much waste as a city of over 400,000 people.
Okay, suddenly my neighbor's dog doesn't seem so bad.
And the total, 130 times more animal waste than human waste in the U.S. annually. 1.4 billion tons, about 5 tons for every person.
5 tons of animal poop per person per year. That's lovely.
They even broke it down by animal type: dairy cows, beef cows, pigs, chickens, totaling over 9.5 billion pounds of waste per day.
You could build things, unpleasant things, out of that much waste.
Very unpleasant things. Okay, so moving from land waste to ocean issues.
Right, the oceans. Fishless by 2048. That sounds alarmist, but...
It's a projection based on current trends they highlighted. 3/4 of fisheries exploited or depleted.
And we're pulling out, what, 90 to 100 million tons of marine life?
Yeah, or possibly up to 2.7 trillion individual animals annually.
Yeah.
The scale is just immense.
And it's not just the fish we want, right? The bycatch thing.
Oh, the bycatch. That was brutal. For every pound of target fish, maybe up to 5 pounds of other animals get caught and discarded.
5 pounds wasted for every pound kept. That's insane.
Dolphins, whales, turtles, sharks, seabirds. Up to 40% of the total global catch just tossed, dead or dying.
How many dolphins and whales are we talking?
The film estimated around 650,000 whales, dolphins, and seals killed by fishing gear each year, and 40 to 50 million sharks.
40 to 50 million sharks annually. That's ecosystem devastation.
It really is.
Did you know we have a vegan search engine, a vegan forum, a vegan newsletter, and so much more coming soon? So why not check us out at Caavakushi.com.
Welcome back to Vegan Stuff with Caavakushi. And briefly, on land wildlife, they touch on predator killing by the USDA to protect livestock.
And the wild horse situation out west, it's all connected.
Totally. The film contrasted how wild animals used to be 99% of Earth's animal biomass.
And
now wild animals are maybe 2%. Humans and our farmed animals make up the other 98%.
That's a staggering shift. We've really taken over.
In a big way. Finally, the film looked at the human cost.
Beyond just, ethics and environment, like actual costs.
Externalized costs.
Yeah.
Things like healthcare related to meat consumption, environmental cleanup, subsidies. They estimated it at $414 billion.
So the sticker price for meat isn't the real price. We're all paying these hidden costs.
That's the argument. Plus, the antibiotic issue. 80% of antibiotics sold in the U.S. go to livestock.
Which fuels antibiotic resistance, a massive potential health crisis.
Exactly. And the inefficiency. We grow enough food for 10 billion people.
But we feed at least half the grain to livestock instead of hungry people.
Yeah. And they pointed out that 82% of starving children live in countries where food is grown to feed animals for richer countries.
That's ethically very uncomfortable.
It is. Protein-wise, they claimed 15 times more protein per acre from plants versus cows.
And land use per person.
Huge difference. Vegan. 1/16 of an acre per year. Vegetarian, 3 times that. Meat eater, 18 times what a vegan needs.
18 times the land.
Yeah. And on 1.5 acres, you could grow 37,000 pounds of plants or just 375 pounds of beef.
The numbers are pretty stark when you put it like that.
So the film summarizes the vegan diet's benefits.
Yeah.
Saves water, grain, land, reduces emissions, and of course saves animal lives. Daily savings.
Okay, so with all that laid out, the sustainability secret. Why the alleged silence from big green groups?
Well, the film suggests it could be fear of losing members or donations or maybe pressure from the powerful agricultural lobby. It doesn't offer definitive proof, but it shows the filmmaker hitting walls.
Right. Kip Anderson trying to talk to Greenpeace, Sierra Club, Surfrider, others, and getting sort of evasive answers or just not getting interviews about this specific topic.
It definitely raises questions about, what influences the agendas of even well-meaning organizations.
Yeah. Now, the film got praise, won some awards.
Audience choice in South Africa, best foreign film in Canada.
But it also got criticized, right? Mainly about that greenhouse gas number.
Exactly. That 51% figure is the big one people challenge. The scientific consensus, like from the IPCC, still points to fossil fuels as the main driver, about 2/3 of warming.
And experts like Doug Butcher from the Union of Concerned Scientists pushed back hard on the 51%.
Yeah, he argued the scientific consensus is closer to 15% for livestock's direct and indirect share, and that the 51% wasn't based on standard peer-reviewed methods.
And there was another study, the 2018 meta-analysis.
Right, finding that a total global shift away from all animal products might reduce emissions by about 28%, which is still massive.
Definitely significant, just maybe not the majority the film initially claimed.
Exactly. So while maybe some numbers were, let's say, on the high end of estimates,
or based on different calculation methods.
Right. The film, undeniably, as outlets like Plant-Based News said, dragged this whole environmental argument for veganism into the mainstream spotlight.
For us vegans, it felt like, finally, someone saying it loudly.
Totally. It opened so many eyes to the connection between food and planet, even if the exact percentages are still debated by scientists.
It gave people a really compelling environmental reason to consider veganism, alongside the ethical and health ones.
Absolutely. And the film's website, having that take action section, the 30-day vegan challenge, that's smart.
Yeah, with Colleen Patrick Goudreau, giving people practical tools after hitting them with all that info.
It makes the message actionable, not just overwhelming.
So wrapping this up, Cowspiracy. Monumental impact in raising awareness, even with debates around some specific stats.
For sure. It put animal agriculture's environmental footprint emissions, water, land, deforestation on the map for millions.
And it clearly worked, according to that Vegali survey. It was the film that tipped a lot of people towards veganism.
Yeah, it shows the power of documentaries, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To spark that change.
Definitely makes you think. Even if you adjust the numbers down from the film's most dramatic claims, the impact is still significant. You can't ignore it.
No. It's a powerful reminder for all of us, I think, to keep talking about this, keep pushing for sustainable and compassionate choices.
Well said. All right, thanks for diving deep into the Cowspiracy vortex with us today.
Always a pleasure. Keep eating those veggies.
Absolutely. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and remember, every vegan meal is a little win for the planet. Catch you later.
Did you know we have a vegan search engine, a vegan forum, a vegan newsletter, and so much more coming soon? So why not check us out at Caavakushi.com. Thanks for listening. We hope you liked this episode. If you did, we'd really appreciate it if you could give us 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on. Also, we would be so appreciative if you could just share this episode or this podcast with all your friends and family who are vegans or vegan friendly. We're also really excited because we are going to be launching something really cool pretty soon on the site, so keep an eye out for that. And we will see you really soon with a new episode.